Welcome, everybody, to another episode of HomeKit Insider. You have got me, Andrew O'Hara, here with my pal and Minnesota's premier handlebar mustache judge, Stephen Robles. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing well. I do like a good handlebar mustache. I'm thinking about growing this beard out, though. Maybe I'll do some beard ornaments for Christmas time,
That would be something.
That will get everyone to move to YouTube.
If you do the glitter, which I cannot believe people would ever do that, because I just imagine, like, glitter already gets everywhere.
It's terrible.
Let alone the fact that if you try to put it in your beard,
No.
it'll be everywhere in your life.
I will not.
So you should do it.
No, glitter. Oof.
You should.
Whoa. I have kids, man. They've had crafts.
Like, do like half, like red on one side and green on the other.
How about this? If we get 1,000 subscribers to the HomeKit Insider YouTube channel, I'll put glitter in my beard.
There we go.
I'll put glitter in my beard. That's
perfect. And then everyone will be able to see it on the video.
That's right. I'm down for that. I'll do that.
I'm just saying, we're going to get to it in a second, but the video is going to be good today because I've got something cool to show.
All right. Well, let's get to the news. We actually have a huge show today because there's a ton of news. We got some reviews for several products. So let's hit it. Want to tease two things up front. First of all, Siri support has come to the Ecobee Thermostat. We covered this news a while ago where there was going to be an update and you can use Siri right there on your Ecobee. And so Andrew actually has a full review of it. I don't want to give too much away, but you gave that thing a lot of stars on your written review there on Apple Insider. So I'm excited to hear about that. So that's coming up. And also Nanoleaf is launching a new line. See what I did there? A new line of products called Nanoleaf Lines. And I actually I wasn't aware of this until we started the show, and Andrew was like, I'm doing this thing. So I'm very excited to hear about that too. So that is in a little bit part of the show. It's going to be in the reviews. Andrew's got that. Very cool. But for news, TP-Link, which I guess their app is called Kasa, K-A-S-A, but the brand TP-Link, I've seen them in like Home Depot and Lowe's and that kind of stuff. They actually have their first smart plug. I guess this is a big step for TP-Link, getting into the HomeKit game. Do they have other HomeKit stuff? TP-Link?
Okay. This is what is so confusing to me with TP-Link.
Yeah.
Is when they came out with their Casa line, they were like, we are going to support HomeKit. We're going to do it.
Right.
And then later on, they completely reneged and said, oh, actually, JK, we're not. And they announced that they were not going to support HomeKit. And then they came out with this randomly, sold at like 2 random places,
right.
And they didn't even really announce it. Like, they didn't even make a big deal about it that they somehow decided to go back to HomeKit. So no, they don't have anything else that's HomeKit. This is like the one thing in Casa that supports HomeKit, and it was just like, yes, we're gonna do it. No, we're not. Yes, we are.
So strange.
Yeah, I don't understand. I really don't.
Apparently, it is available now at Target and Best Buy. I'm looking at it on the Target website right now. It's like $18 for a smart plug. HomeKit. I mean, you have a lot of options for smart plugs now, and
so here's why I think this one's gonna be good.
Okay.
And I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know. Is Casa is one of the few lines that supports energy monitoring. So you can actually see through HomeKit how much energy consumption you've used. So you can tell when something is on or off.
Okay.
You can see how much energy you're pulling. You can view like graphs of this in the Eve app. Can't do it in the Home app because they're limited, but through the third-party apps that support it, obviously Casa app will support it, but the Eve app for HomeKit should support it as well if they're doing everything by the book with HomeKit. But that is what separates them out from most of the other generic smart plugs out there. So for the price, with energy monitoring, I actually think this is not a bad deal at all. So that's good.
Okay.
The other thing that I liked about Casa, I actually have a couple Casa plugs in my house right now, even though they don't support HomeKit, because they work with my Sense system that I have connected to our fuse box, and it's able to directly monitor how much power something is using and give you that like on your energy report. So I have a like Casa power strip, and Casa is one of the few brands that integrates directly into Sense. So I can see exactly how much like power my TV is pulling, how much power my PlayStation consumes over time, rest mode versus off mode, and I can even see like a breakdown of how much it's costing me over time. So I think it's really cool, but I'm interested. Like, yeah, I want to try this out. I have a couple other Casa plugs that might replace with these, but especially if they support the energy monitoring in HomeKit,
Right.
I think they're not a bad deal.
Okay. All right. Very cool. We'll put the link in show notes. Listeners, if you need a smart plug, check out TP Link by Casa. Is that what it is? Is it TP Link by Casa? Is it like?
No, it's like Casa, but TP Link is the company, and then
Yeah.
Casa is their line of smart home stuff.
Okay, but you can't search for Casa at Target because it comes up as TP Link. So
Oh, well, that's dumb.
whatever. Okay.
I'm not going to explain how search engines work and why that's dumb.
Exactly. All right. Very cool.
It has Casa on the box because I actually
Okay.
wondered originally because I did see everything was TP Link. I'm like, but the brand is Casa.
Gotcha,
Like company's TP Link, but the brand of their accessories is Casa. So I'm confused already.
Branding's important to companies. Just throwing that out there. All right. I wanted to mention this crazy, insane looking smart lock. Xiaomi Xiaomi XIAOMI. You might have heard of the brand before, listeners. They have a new HomeKit smart lock that is from the future. This thing is probably not coming to the States. This is probably a China-only thing, at least for right now. Who knows if something like it will come. This thing looks crazy. It's got keypad. It looks like a Star Trek door handle, but it also has facial recognition. You can basically open this thing with whatever you want. You can give it a DNA sample. You can give it your social security number. You can
just lick it.
You can
and
lick
you'll
it.
Get
Retinal
in.
scan.
That's how
No,
it
that's not
works.
true.
Just lick the doorknob.
That's not true. What it does is it can unlock with facial recognition, fingerprint, a passcode, number passcode that's on the device, NFC, or app controlled either through its own app or HomeKit because it is a HomeKit lock. Now, as crazy as this thing looks, I do like all those options for being able to unlock it, especially if you have people who don't want to use an app or, you want to have that number pad. We've talked about smart locks before and which ones are compatible with a separate number pad for people who don't want to use their phone or their watch. August has that thing where you can get the separate keypad. So honestly, I'm about that keypad as well as HomeKit to unlock it. I just think it looks a little crazy. Like you have to have a very, very modern style home, I think, for this thing to work. Like if you putting this on a ranch house, people can be wondering what you're doing. Like this is, they might be wondering like, well, are you a spy?
I mean, it's like sleek and matte black with like a glossy panel in the front where like the camera is and the keypad is and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it looks pretty neat. I don't think it's going to match my style of our house, but it looks pretty neat.
It looks cool. Like it doesn't look bad for sure. Like it looks cool. I would encourage audio listeners or podcast listeners. This will be the chapter art. If you didn't know, if you listen to the podcast on a podcast player, I put images for every chapter. This will be the image for this chapter, so you can see what it looks like there. And there'll be links. Do you put links in the YouTube description or the copy? I don't know.
Yeah, I usually copy out our
show links
from the show
Cool.
notes to the YouTube.
Look at this thing, listeners. I really want to know what you think about this. I think it's a very cool functionality, and it's a cool idea having the keypad. And the keypad's like discrete. It's like little LED lights in the black panel, and it looks like if you don't touch it or like wake it up, they just dim, and it looks like there's no keypad. Honestly, like I'm about that look. That looks really cool. So yeah, pretty sweet. I'm curious how facial recognition would work at like that angle of like a door lock type height. I'd be curious how well that works. But
I feel like all the women out there are like, oh, they're going to take a camera angle like down? Like, no.
I mean, I don't
Like
know.
my wife hates when we get photos and someone doesn't like you have to raise the camera in the air to get the proper angle.
I
Like a
get,
selfie
oh
laying
yeah,
down
yeah.
is just unattractive. Yeah, like, you're like that door knock is going to just look.
They're gonna put the
oh.
door lock like 6 feet up. You got to have that down look.
Yeah, you're gonna, to pull it down.
The one thing I don't think it does have is a Oh no. It actually is a camera as well. You can do a live stream or still image push to your phone.
I'd hope so. I mean, if it's got if it's
everything
using the
else.
facial recognition, it's got a camera of some sort in there. I don't know what kind of. I don't particularly trust the facial recognition here.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they're using for facial recognition. I don't know if they're doing like the 3D mapping or if you could be fooled by a photo.
Yeah.
That is always like nerve-wracking to get into your house, but
Yeah. That's pretty. I mean,
there hasn't been like a perfect HomeKit lock. I don't think.
no.
This is closer.
And that's why I
Like I
mentioned.
really love I like the level lock touch a lot. That has like that one does have the NFC support and all of that. Super minimalist, goes in. The problem is you don't have the keypad option.
Right.
Like I want one that's got the NFC tags, full HomeKit. I want home key in there.
Yes.
We haven't got one of those yet. with the keypad option. Like if we can combine all those together, you get August that has the lock plus the keypad, but no NFC or anything.
Right.
Yeah, there's like just not anything that has all of it at once.
Totally agree. And that's, as I'm looking forward to my house, a keypad is like I have to have a keypad because I'm going to have people coming in and out that are not going to use their phone. And so I think my only option right now, aside from the Star Trek door handle, which is not even available in the U.S., is the August one, right? I mean, that's the only HomeKit one with a separate keypad, right?
With a separate one, yes. I think there are some that have the keypad like built into like your doorknob itself, but I think that's the only one that is working on its own or like working separately.
A lot of times those look super ugly too. You know, if it, like the big Schlage ones or whatever, they have like a big keypad and a door lock.
Schlag.
Yeah. But
you're just gonna pronounce everything fun today.
I'm doing my best. Anyway,
Xiaomi and Schlag.
Xiaomi. It's a cool thing. I mean, I'm gonna give Xiaomi credit. They're like doing it. And that's it's pretty slick. So anyway, take a look at that, listeners. It's pretty cool. And final piece of news before we get to some of these big reviews would actually help in this last question of what other smart locks are out there. There's this new app called Home Devices, and this is a free app. You can download it totally for free. And when you download it, it doesn't connect to your home data. This is actually just a database. Let's see if the camera actually nope, not going to see a thing. Nope, just a white screen on video.
All
what in
white.
the world?
There's like looks like some little animal with an afro.
I'm not sure.
I couldn't tell what that was.
Let's try that.
Blue.
So there we go.
All that is that ProMotion just banding. Like
it is. This is crazy. Listen, this is why I got to go on YouTube. For some reason, this camera cannot do the ProMotion. Anyway, this app is basically has every category of HomeKit type devices, and will tell you the current supported devices that are out there that you can buy. So like I can tap air purifier and it lists like the IKEA one, the Maris, Molecule, Sensibo, SmartMe. Like it just lists all the different devices that are currently available that support HomeKit. And you can tap on a device. It tells you what HomeKit like sensors or actions it can support. And then you can even just search on Amazon right from the app. And if I go down to locks is another category. It has a bunch of them. The August, the Avia, didn't know about that. Quickset. So there's a Quickset one with a keypad, and it is HomeKit. So there you go. It actually can reveal and surface all the different locks. And so this is really cool. And I forget the developer's name, but obviously we'll put a link to this app in show notes, and it's totally free. So if you just wanted to like see if you wanted to get a smoke sensor or a thermostat, a window covering like shades, you could just find it all in this app. So, and it even has thread sections, so it tells you what HomeKit devices currently support thread. The Nanoleaf devices are in here and the Eve stuff. So this is a very cool app, and kudos developer. It's fun.
That's really neat. And I know people were dinging us a while ago that we had not yet delivered on our like HomeKit repo of like recommended devices. And I will say I'm still working on it. It's still coming. It's just a whole lot of work, and then more devices keep coming out as I'm like trying to work on it. So it's just taken a lot of time amongst everything else. Everything's just been so crazy. It's been a busy year. And it's like, the third level project below like images and all Apple's new releases and everything. So it's coming. We will have a dedicated page that is updated on Apple Insider. With basically every product category and our top rated ones and backup solutions and tertiary options. So it's coming.
Tertiary options.
Eventually.
I do just real quick one more time in this app. We had talked about occupancy sensors last week, and he has an occupancy sensor category here, and it lists the like Ecobee Thermostat, which you had said has that occupancy sensor in it. Also, the Abode keypad apparently has an occupancy sensor, an Ecobee switch. So that's very cool. So there are a few devices. This actually has 9 that support the occupancy sensor HomeKit card, thing. They also have a couple categories that have no devices in here, which is interesting. There's faucet, which we talked about faucets a while ago, that there are some smart faucets, but they work with Alexa and Google Home. So like it is a category though in HomeKit. So I was getting ready for that. And also he has door. like not door lock or doorbell, just straight up door. And I don't know. I mean, I imagine he's pulling this from like Apple's list of devices that will or can support HomeKit. And yeah, I'd be very interested if there is such a thing as a HomeKit door in the future. I guess that opens itself. I mean,
Or maybe it just has like the lock built in. Like
maybe. I mean,
it's like a door lock, but it's also the whole door. If you want the knob, you got to buy the door with it.
right. I mean, honestly, for accessibility, it would be great, if you can have like an automatic door. Automatic doors are a thing by motion sensor or whatever, but to do it with that.
I have one that Faith got, my wife, that is for sliding doors. And I think I saw them out at CES too, where it's like an automatic door opener for like your pets. And so you can control it from your phone, like to tell it to open and close a sliding door. There's like a lock mode that'll like lock it in, so that way no one can like jimmy it open and pull it. And then you can put little NFC tags on your doggo's collars or your kitty cat's collars, and then as they like come back to your home, it'll open the door for them and close it.
Okay, that's cool.
I think it's really cool. Our only problem of like making it actually like usable part of our home is that we do have 2 cats that are not outdoor cats, and I don't want them getting out. So otherwise, it would be nice that our dogs could just let themselves in and out. During, and you can restrict the hours or just when you're home. So it's not like, oh, all the time. It can be like just when I'm home, just between these hours can open and close. Okay. So there is a thing out there that kind of does that, but it doesn't work with HomeKit. And he had mentioned wanting to work with HomeKit, but there wasn't like a specific thing. Like, is it a lock? But it's like opening and closing. So
It's
not a thing yet.
That's very cool. Last thing I just want to say real quick, because I just discovered this. You can give it access to your home data, and it will list all of your devices in the app, and you can see what automations and triggers you can use with each kind of device. And it will even give you information of like, this is the Logitech Circle View camera I have. It'll show you this is a HomeKit secure video device. It'll tell you that it can do light sensing and motion sensing like per device. And so if you're wanting to see like which of my devices can be motion or whatever, it'll tell you. So that's very cool. Also, I'm so bothered that my phone has those like what in the world? Why is my is my camera freaking out?
It's whatever frame rate you're shooting your camera on.
Is 24. What are you shooting at?
Usually 24.
Yeah, mine's on 24.
But it's going to depend on what depends on what your display is doing.
Because they didn't do that on mine.
I shoot on 24, and I haven't had any issues with the new phones.
That's interesting. That's the first time I think. Okay, hold on. We're doing a test real quick here.
Did you switch it to 30 or something?
Well, I don't want to switch. I don't want to switch it right now, but I might switch it to I switch to 30. But I want to test a non-promotion display. This is the iPad Mini right here. No banding.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, because of the promotion display, it can ramp up or down. So I don't know what the refresh rate of that display even was at that point. Did it drop down to 10 because it was a static image, or because the app doesn't support it yet? Like, I don't know what it is.
That's an interesting idea, Andrew, and I'm actually going to test now because I would think it would ramp up. Well, I don't know if this app supports it, so I don't even know if that's going to be.
I was about to say it doesn't necessarily support in that. It definitely isn't supported in that random database app.
Never mind.
Yeah, it looks like it's doing it too.
Yeah, so weird. Okay, well, there you go. That was a bonus tip for you guys. Not even a tip. It's just something's broken. I don't know how to fix it.
What a tip that is. Here's a tip. This happens.
this happens. All right, but we got some huge reviews we got to get to, but we want to thank one of our friends. This week is sponsored by BetterHelp. If you've never heard of BetterHelp before, BetterHelp is professional counseling done securely, and it's all online. You do the whole setup process online. You can talk to someone in under 48 hours from when you start the process. And once you're connected to a counselor, you can actually send messages through the app. And you can get thoughtful responses. And then you can schedule like video sessions and actually receive that help right online. You don't have to go to an office. You don't have to sit in a waiting room. And they are committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches so to make it easy and free to change counselors if you need it. And it's more affordable than traditional offline counseling. And they have licensed professional counselors who specialize in all kinds of things like depression, stress, anxiety, sleeping, anger, grief. They have counselors for anything that you might be dealing with. And, listen, especially during this time in the world today, mental health is important. And we think that, if you struggle with something, I actually did BetterHelp, and the setup process, they really ask good questions to figure out like where you're at and what you might be struggling with, even things that you're not even aware of or not be thinking of actively. And so I encourage you to try it out. And Andrew, I know you're a proponent of mental health as well.
Yeah, I think it's really important. It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to feel like you're like actively depressed or something. Like in just basic things of stress and anxiety or going through things, just being able to talk to someone, even if it's someone that's not like, your partner or something, just being able to get like that neutral advice and being able to talk it out with somebody can help greatly. So, and I love this. You don't have to actually go through the whole process. You don't have to go anywhere and worry about all that stuff. It's all on your phone. It's so easy just to get it set up and to get started. We tried BetterHealth. I know my wife did, and it's a really neat service that they're providing.
Yeah, and so it's betterhelp.com/HomeKit. You go there, they assess your needs, they match you with a licensed professional therapist. And again, in under 48 hours, you're talking to someone. It's convenient, professional, and it's affordable. And the service is available. The service is available for clients worldwide. So you can do this all over the world. So many people have been using BetterHelp. They are actually recruiting counselors in all 50 states. They're getting additional counselors all over. So if you want to start living a happier life today, as a listener, you actually get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/HomeKit. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/HomeKit, and join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/HomeKit. Our thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. Now, you have two huge things that you reviewed. I'm very curious. Are we doing the Ecobee first? I'm excited to hear about the Ecobee. Are we doing that?
Yeah, we're doing Ecobee. I figure we'll just go in the order of release, and Ecobee came out like,
do it.
I teased this one last week, guys. It was right after our show, like dropped on Monday. The Ecobee announcement came out on Tuesday.
Yes.
And I've been playing with this for a little while now, and it's pretty awesome.
You straight up gave this thing
really cool
5 stars in your review for Siri and AirPlay 2 coming to the Ecobee Thermostat. And just to remind our listeners again, yes, this is a thermostat, but was it WWDC that Apple announced this? Yeah, there was in their home thing that they were actually going to open up to third parties the ability to build in Siri to third-party devices like a thermostat or whatever. Hopefully smart speakers in the future. I know we had a listener ask about Sonos, and you could maybe tag this on later, whether or not they might support Siri. So you can actually use Sonos with Siri rather than Alexa. But anyway, Andrew, tell us all about this update adding Siri to the Ecobee thermostat.
Yeah, this is huge. This is so cool to me. When I originally reviewed the newest Ecobee Smart Thermostat, I gave it 4.5 stars. And I said the one thing that was missing was AirPlay 2. And here we are. Ecobee has added not only AirPlay 2, which is technically in beta, but they've added full-on Siri support as well, which wasn't a thing that was even possible when we had reviewed this. So the fact that they've added these makes us a clear 5 out of 5 like smart thermostat, because it just does a ridiculous amount. I always love these thermostats because I think they look really great. Easy to install. Their support is phenomenal. It has like all the stuff that you need from HomeKit, including like the occupancy stuff. There are remote sensors that can go in all of your rooms that'll detect things like the temperature and occupancy and report back to the thermostat, so it can like intelligently adjust your temperature in home to actually adjust the room that you're in versus wherever the thermostat is placed. So there's a ton of stuff that goes along with this. They have like their new sensors that can be mounted above the doors that can be used for their like Haven system as like a home security thing. Plus they have their camera that is like really affordable and has HomeKit secure video in it, as well as everything else. So just overall, I've loved the Ecobee line, and now we have these 2 great new features. So Siri support, it's not all directly on the thermostat, right? Sorry, my dogs are barking at the door right now, and I'm hoping it's not.
I've heard the dogs, and I was like, I don't know.
The one needs like a signature, and I'm like waiting to find out if there's going to be like, and my doorbell doesn't work right now because I had to unplug my Arlo hub as I was rearranging the living room. So
we'll see what happens. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, hopefully not FedEx.
It's like barking in between every word that you speak. Yeah. So I will say, as your dog continues barking, so you need...
Oh, hold on. It is FedEx. I got to run up there real quick.
Go.
If you want to talk for a moment, I'm going.
Talk for a moment. Well, I will say I do love the Ecobee thermostat. I had the Ecobee thermostat for what was it, like 5 or 6 years, and I do find when it comes to HomeKit thermostats, it was super reliable. I loved its features. Now with the Siri built in, I'm curious what exactly the AirPlay feature comes into play with this. But for the Siri integration, you do need a HomePod with the thermostat in order to use Siri on the thermostat. So if you had no HomePods in your home, but you have an Ecobee thermostat, you would not be able to use Siri. You would have to use, it just wouldn't be available. And that's why, just kidding. So I was just basically saying you need to have a HomePod in your house to use Siri on the thermostat. If you had no HomePods, it would not be available. Yeah.
Yes. Now that I'm out of breath from running up and down the stairs and through the yard, my wife texts me. She's like, he's knocking. I'm like, trying, making this.
Was that an Apple Watch that came early? Is that what that was?
No. Oh. Anyway,
So
as you were saying, yes, you do need a HomePod. I think, is it HomePod or just HomePod Mini?
You can do a HomePod Mini. Yeah, HomePod Mini is it? Yeah.
Okay, so you need a HomePod Mini to run through Siri. So all the processing is not being done on the Ecobee itself. It's just being routed through your HomePod Mini. And then, so it does all your processing, then sends everything back through your Ecobee thermostat. But otherwise it works the same. You just say your key phrase,
Hey, Dingus.
Siri. Yeah, and it'll go ahead and answer your queries, whatever you want to throw at it.
Now, you might cover this too, but one question. This is not every Ecobee thermostat that this works on. It looks like the Ecobee Lite does not offer this capability. Is that accurate?
Correct. It is just the Ecobee SmartThermostat.
Yeah. Which looks very similar, so be sure you understand what you're buying. The Lite one is like $150 right now on their website. The Smart Thermostat is $220, and the Smart Thermostat also has the ability to do like the multiple sensors. Or does the Lite one have that too?
I think the Lite one has the sensors. It may not come.
It's not included,
sensors.
Right?
Yeah, so you can still pick them up. The big difference between the Lite and the regular one, if I remember from the review, is that the regular one, the Smart Thermostat that we're talking about here, has the voice assistant control, because it did have Amazon's Assistant built in, so you could always ask Amazon questions and play from your Amazon Music library. Or even if you tied your Amazon to like your Sirius XM account or Pandora or any of those. So all of that could be streamed through the Smart Thermostat, but you had to go through Amazon's Assistant to do so. That is no longer the case. Now you can do it all with Siri. It worked amazingly well for us. We have ours in kind of an awkward location, but it still is useful. It's in like our hallway. But if you have like one in your living room or near your kitchen, anything like that, it's basically an extra HomePod you've got going on. Ask any questions, conversions, timers, all of that. Your timers and everything can be seen in the Home app, just like they can with HomePod. So you can see any timers or alarms that you have set, which will ring through there. It supports intercom, so you can intercom to the hallway or wherever it is. All that works just like with a HomePod. The other thing is AirPlay 2, which is launching in beta right now. So Siri is officially here. AirPlay 2 is the beta one, and which makes sense because if you can do a AirPlay to your HomePod and this thing has a speaker in it, why not? So it's not the most amazing sounding speaker ever, but it's a decent speaker. I mean, it was meant to be used to play back music and stuff before, but it's still just in a thermostat. So it's not huge by any means. There's not like massive bass or anything. But since it's AirPlay 2, you can connect it to other speakers in your house. So connect it up to your other HomePods or your other Sonos things that are AirPlay 2, anything like that, and you can play music throughout your whole house. It's really just like getting a HomePod.
That's cool.
An extra HomePod in your house. And if you already have this thermostat, you're getting it for free, which I think is amazing. It just puts Siri in more places in your house and works just like your HomePod.
Now, this thing on Ecobee's website, it also says it supports hands-free calling. Is that something where you can just tell it to call somebody and it'll do it?
I've not tried calling, but I mean, you can make a call through a HomePod, so why couldn't you make a call through your Ecobee?
Right. That's pretty cool. I mean, I was already all in on Ecobee before I had Ecobee thermostat as my smart thermostat forever. The HomeKit integration has always been super solid, but I'm excited to get this new version. It does also still work with Alexa, but you could turn Alexa off, I imagine, right, and just use the HomeKit side of it.
Yeah, and before I actually don't remember. I think before you always had, because Amazon has this weird rule where if you support Alexa, you can't.
It's coming.
You cannot completely disable it. So like I have my Safe and Sound in our ceiling. Right. I have these brilliant smart panels. We have a few others that support Amazon, and they would always chime in like, "Oh, you're not logged into Amazon. You're not." I'm like, "I'm not trying to talk to you. There's a reason I'm not logged into you. Right. I don't want to use it, but you can't fully disable it, and it's obnoxious." So these things would always be like listening to you, and they always had to have the microphone there. So like the brilliant panels, there's a requirement that you have to have that microphone icon like on the main screen. Even if you're not using it, you cannot fully disable that feature.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Because of Amazon's like rules.
That's because I thought on like Sonos speakers,
even on the Ecobee, it was
Sonos
there.
Speakers, you could turn it off. I thought.
Well, you again with those, but it's not. There's no like button essentially with that. Like there's a microphone button for like muting, but there's no like physical like thing that you see there. So with like these screens, like the Brilliant One and the Ecobee, they were required to have that icon on the screen. They could not hide that icon if you turned it off. So they were always there. So on my Ecobee, I always just in the lower right hand corner there was a microphone with like a line through it because I wasn't using it, and that's how you would turn on Alexa if you wanted to, but you couldn't just hide it for whatever reason. But yeah, now that little button opens up Siri, so you can manually press it to talk to or use the key phrase. That's
awesome. And looking at the footnote here on Ecobee's website, it does. You can have a HomePod Big or HomePod Mini. Both of them work. You just need a home hub. It says it's compatible. Yeah, compatible home hubs. And if you think about it, you can even run shortcuts on this thing. And so whatever you would normally trigger with a HomePod or with the Hey Dingus phrase, you can do shortcuts now on the Ecobee thermostat. This is awesome, and I'm totally about this. I'm excited to try myself. But Andrew has a full review on Apple Insider. Give it 5 stars. The illustrious, elusive 5-star reviews. So encourage everybody to check it out. Very cool. I also did want to mention quickly, I got the Aqara E1 USB-A hub. This is a new hub from Aqara. It joins its M1S and M2 like little disc hubs that you either plug into the wall or have it sit on a desk. This E1 hub is basically like a long stick, looks like an antenna, and it has a USB-A plug on the side. Now normally I'd be like, why not USB-C? But the reason is it's meant to just plug into a wall and you can have the antenna go straight up. And I don't know if a USB-C plug would hold it. Like I don't know if the actual plug is big enough to support the weight of this antenna. So
I would hope so, because that is the new standard that everything is switching to. And if it couldn't hold the weight of a tiny little antenna, they probably should have picked a different connector.
Yeah, I mean, true.
It should hold.
It should.
It's still metal. It should.
Should hold. I mean, and this Ecobee and this Aqara E1 hub is very light. It's not like a heavy thing. But if you wanted to use some Aqara products and you did want to have like this hub sitting somewhere, like one of the round discs or bigger, it's discreet. It's a stick. It's very cool. When I was setting it up, I tried adding it in the Aqara app first, and it didn't recognize it. I don't know if this is because it's a very new product and it might not be like the app updated to support it. But I went over to the Home app and just added it straight in the Home, and that added no problem. It came up as an alarm system, but acts as an Aqara hub, so that was pretty cool. And 2 props to Aqara. 1, you used to have to sign into the Aqara app with an Aqara account, and now when you download the Aqara app, there's an option on that login screen to say just use as a HomeKit like bridge basically, or like a HomeKit viewer. And you don't have to sign up or sign into an Aqara account at all, which I thought was very nice. It'd be great if, I think Eve does that too. You don't need like an Eve account. It just opens the HomeKit stuff. So kudos to Aqara for adding that. And I also really liked in the Aqara app, when you're trying to scan a HomeKit code, it pulls up the camera viewfinder, you put the QR code in the viewfinder. There's actually now a little flashlight icon where, if you've added a lot of HomeKit devices to your home before, a lot of times they might be like down behind an entertainment center or behind like some weird shelving thing. And so as you're trying to scan the QR code, you can actually tap the little flashlight button and it turns on your phone flashlight so that QR code is more visible as you're trying to scan it. A very little thing, but it was very welcome, because actually where I put the Aqara thing was in a dark spot and the camera was struggling to scan it. And I was like, wait a minute, what's that little flashlight thing? And boom, was able to turn on the flashlight on my phone, and it was very cool. Apple, I think it would be a great idea. Add it to the Home app as you're trying to scan QR codes, because I don't think you can turn. I mean, you might be able to turn.
I actually thought they did.
Do they?
I thought it was in there, but I can't remember now. It's been a little while.
You can turn on the flashlight. No, the flashlight turns off. So I just tried it. Like, there's no flashlight icon when you add something directly in the Home app. And so I have my flashlight on right here, if you're watching on video, and I'm going to hit the plus icon in the Home app to add a new device. I tap Add Accessory, and the flashlight turns off. You can't even keep it on. And if I go to Control Center, flashlight is like grayed out. Like, you can't even turn. There's a banding again. How do you like that? There it is. You can't even turn on the flashlight in the scan mode in the Home thing. That's interesting. So anyway, Aqara, kudos on those two little features. I greatly appreciate that. And again, this is a very discreet hub. Again, it is USB-A. Just get one of those old iPhone or iPad plugs that you're not using anymore because you live in 2021. You're using USB-C everywhere. And I use it for this hub. It's all good. And so, yeah, always nice to have just different hub options. So I appreciate that. So cool work, Aqara. I will put a link to that in show notes as well. Did you have one of these two? Were you messing around with it?
I have, but I haven't been able to set it, or not been able to set it up. I haven't had a chance to set it up yet.
Yeah.
We're like, we just had the iPhones launch, so I've been like cramming through iPhone videos, and then Apple announces another event for when this episode drops.
I know, Monday.
On Monday.
A Monday event.
Yeah.
That's usually for WWDC only. They do those Monday keynotes. So, but they didn't want to upstage Google Pixel. I think it was a courtesy on Apple's part to say, Pixel's launching on Tuesday. Let's not totally distract everyone from their thing. Maybe that's why.
Or it was, instead of being like malevolent, they were trying to like straight up like steal all the thunder beforehand. Like, you know what? We're gonna do a one like the day before, and just completely overshadow anything that they're Pixel. What? I don't even know. Like, they're just straight up gonna be
actually
mean and just.
That's a good point, because Pixel's big selling point is the Tensor chip, which is going to be Google's first own silicon that they are making for their phone, and Apple's going to be like, "Oh, you want to talk silicon? We got silicon. We got the M1X." Do you?
I know. I don't remember if it was Gurman or Prosser or someone.
Yeah.
I think it was Gurman who talked about like that Apple's not going to stick with M1X and probably go with like M2X or something, because when they come out with like a new MacBook Air in early 2022, they're going to have the M2, and people are going to be like, oh, why do I want an M1X when I could get an M2? And it'll mess with their branding if they have like an M1X machine, but M2 cheaper machines. So I heard that they were like kind of, I'm sure they have already decided, but that was definitely a point of debate on these new machines, if they were going to stick with M1X or M2 or M2X or whatever.
I am interested to see what they decide. Basically, every Apple news outlet is going to have to do a find and replace across the entire website to say, replace M1X with M2X.
I know we've committed hard to M1X, and I didn't buy it 100% yet. Like, I'm like, it makes sense, but it's going to be really weird if they've got M2. Like, that's going to be confusing to customers. They might just confuse customers, have to explain it in marketing.
It might be best just to,
for most people,
choose a different letter. I mean, they use a lot of letters already. They have the U1, they have the S chips for the watch, they have the A chips, the M chips, the H1, I think is in like the AirPods and stuff. So they're not afraid to use a bunch of letters. Yeah. They could just go P1. No, they wouldn't use P.
But they may. But I mean, yeah. Well, they always stand for something. U1, the ultra wideband. The W1 was their wireless chip. Now their H1 is specifically going to the headphones. They stick with their W chips, like the W3 in like the watches, and then put their H1 into their headphones.
I got a theory. Over the past few years, they have been moving the letter X out of their products, like macOS 10. It's no longer X. It's just macOS Monterey Big Sur. There's no more iPhone X or 10. They could just say it's the X1 chip.
They could.
They could.
I'm not buying that one. I think it's just the product line. So M for Mac, and then they're going to do like their base and their heavy graphics, just like they do with the iPhones and iPads. They've got their 13, then like the 13X or whatever it is that they do.
Yeah.
So they always just tack on that X for like the additional GPUs and performance. but just a variation on the same process.
Maybe they'll call it the J1.
So I don't know.
J1. No, they want to J.
What are they doing? What's
Q.
what J for?
Q1.
What do you think these letters are standing for?
I'm just saying letters of the
questionable
alphabet.
name. Okay.
I do want to ask our listeners, though, when I was trying to be dramatic, I got really close to the mic right here, and I just want to know if our listeners appreciate this kind of sound, and I'll do this from now on if you do. And it'll be like the disc jockey early morning. This is FM 101.7, Smooth Jazz.
It sounds like you're whispering in my ear.
Exactly.
Like, I don't want you to
I don't
out
know.
of my ear.
Some people, the ASMR audience may love it. I don't know. All right, but we still have to get to this huge Nanoleaf Lines, new line of products. But before we do, we have one more friend to thank. Our friends at Hunter Douglas. You've heard us talk about Hunter Douglas before. They make the incredible smart shades for your home. It's easy. It is comfortable to have those shades come up and down. Oh, Andrew's got something he's about to reveal to us. Okay, well, hold on.
Nope.
There's a tease in it during the sponsor ad. I'm too excited now. Okay, so Hunter Douglas, they make innovative shade designs with gorgeous fabrics, and of course, they are HomeKit compatible because there's a HomeKit Insider, and so you can use these smart shades in the Home app with Siri, do the shortcuts, do the automations, and of course, you can use shades to diffuse harsh sunlight or control light and shape it across your room. You can enjoy a beautiful view outside or wake up to your shades slowly rising in the morning. It has superior insulation, keeping you warmer winter and cooler in the summer, lowering utility bills. Or you can simply have that Goldilocks moment when you walk into a room and everything just looks and feels just right. That's a Three Little Bears reference. I get it, Hunter Douglas. I see you. But of course, Hunter Douglas has that Power View technology, and your shades can automatically reposition for the perfect balance of light, privacy, and insulation at any time of day. Now, Andrew, I see you. What do you got over there? Is that something for this ad right here?
Nope.
Oh, it's not?
I'm just fidgeting.
Oh, I thought you were going to.
Nope.
What I thought you were holding was the battery that you can use in the Hunter Douglas shades, which is easily replaceable and rechargeable. Because I know how many batteries of those do you got? Because you got a bunch of shades.
I've only got two.
Got two batteries
right now. I got a main one and a swap one, and then I'll have another. When I get the next one, I'll have three. So I'll always have like one extra to swap, so I can just immediately put it in. Just like pops right out, put the new one in, stick the other one on the charger. So that way you don't have to wait around and like not have shades working while it's charging. Super
convenient. It's awesome. Andrew's had these in his home. I'll be getting them. They have blackout shades as well if you want to like block out all sunlight. Maybe you have a studio situation. I'm going to be trying that out very soon. So live beautifully with Hunter Douglas, enjoying greater convenience, style, and comfort in your home. You can visit hunterdouglas.com/HomeKit today to take advantage of the Season of Style Rebate Savings event. You can actually save some money on them right now. That's hunterdouglas.com/HomeKit for limited time savings. This offer expires December 6th, 2021. It'd be a great Christmas gift if you have another HomeKit or smart home person in your life, or a Christmas gift for yourself. Let's be honest. hunterdouglas.com/HomeKit. That link will be in the show notes. You can just click it there. Thanks to Hunter Douglas for sponsoring this episode. All right, now, Andrew, what are you actually teasing? You're fidgeting. There's something there, and I didn't know what was happening. I was getting excited. I didn't know what it was. What is it?
Well, it's because we have to talk about Nanoleaf's new product.
Yes.
And I'm real excited for this one because this is different than most of what else that Nanoleaf has put out there. Like, it's similar but different. So
Same but different.
They're really known for their panels, right? Their original like Aurora one that they just renamed to like their smart light panels. They came out with the canvas line. They're like the squares. They came out with the shapes line where we got triangles and like hexagons and stuff.
Right.
This new one, they're not light panels that cast into your room. Instead, they are now offering indirect light. And it looks like this guy right back here.
Oh, my word. The big reveal. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we can change the brightness.
Goodness. Listeners, you got to go to YouTube.
This thing gets real bright.
You have got to see this.
Turns down a little bit.
Oh, my
So it looks like okay on video. This is the new Nanoleaf Lines.
Very cool.
They are lines. They're little individual light bars. This guy right here, what I was fidgeting with.
Very cool.
This is the light bar. And they have little connections on the end. You can bring this close to camera.
Yes.
Yeah, you can see the little connection, the little pogo pins.
Yes.
And they connect to these little fellas. These are little hexagon endpoints.
That is
And
sweet.
your light bar simply clicks in right into place. and then you put as many as you need, and you throw a little cap on to give it a nice little appearance. Boom. So this is what you're working with, these guys. Cool. And these are a little spacer. It gives you about half an inch or so space between the light, which is facing towards the wall, and the wall itself. So it gives you this great, like, indirect lighting effect where it's throwing the light against the wall versus into your room. And honestly, after like seeing this, like this, I love this.
That looks really cool.
It looks so much cooler. Like the diffused light is awesome.
Yes.
It just looks amazing, and it looks so much cooler in real life. And you'll notice each bar actually has 2 different lights on it. So if you're trying to find, like, it's like blue and red or green and red, everything's changing. But multiple colors per bar. So you have like half and half, so you can set them each separately. And because they're all diffused, everything just blends together really nicely. And it is Nanoleaf, so you can do everything else that the Nanoleaf products can. There's all these different effects. This is like a kaleidoscope effect going on where it's just kind of like changing and rotating. But they have a ton of different presets in the app.
That's pretty sweet. That
you can choose from. You can make your own, like this is like cozy blaze, like a fire.
Ooh.
And it's actually like
That's pretty
flickering
sweet.
a little
Yes.
bit. Like a slow flicker.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's so cool.
Oh,
it's
goodness.
really, really neat. The starter kit comes with 9 light bars, and then you can pick up additional 3 packs to make these go even further. They do stick on with little adhesives on the back of your little corner pieces. There's an adhesive. You can also use screws if you want to do more permanent placement. But the little adhesives pull off just like a command strip, so they shouldn't damage your wall in any way. But they do support HomeKit, of course, so you have full HomeKit control. Use Siri to turn them on or off, or include them in any of your other scenes. Like if you want to do a movie scene and you want to turn this low into like a fireplace, like while you're watching, you can do that. Has an ambient light sensor, so it'll detect the brightness in the room and then automatically adjust its brightness based on how bright your room is. And you can choose between ambiance or functional mode. So in ambiance mode, it's gonna be a little bit dimmer, but in functional mode, it's gonna be brighter. So if you want just straight up daylight, you can put it all white and just use it as functional lighting in your room. That's gonna be a bit brighter. And these things get really bright. I've got a lot of light here in the studio, and this still is, it's almost too bright in this small space. In a larger space, I think it'd be fine, but even in the small space, like it's like too bright. Couple other things to note: connects over Wi-Fi, but it can act as a thread border router. So if you have any other thread gear, that includes the Nanoleaf Essentials line that act as thread endpoints. There's also all the Eve products, like the Eve door and window sensors, the Eve Aqua, the Eve Energy is already a thread border router, so I guess not a big deal there. But any other thread stuff that you've got going on, this can act as a border router for. And then there's something else I wanted to mention, and I've already forgotten what it is. Oh, design-wise. So they come with this guy here, which is like a ton of different inspiration on like the stuff that you can do. These are all really cool, and there's like even a small one. I like the small one because it tells you like how many pieces you need to put them together. So you can have like, okay, well I definitely need 12 because I want to make that little S like we would draw on our notebooks in school. Like, of course.
That's hilarious. They had that.
Yeah, so I like that you can like see how many pieces you need. They do have the augmented reality mode, so you can like design and see it on your wall before you build it. That's really cool.
That's cool.
I think though, I can't do it. I wish there was a spot I could do this. This would be an amazing ceiling light. Like look at this right there. How cool is that? Like that just looks amazing to me. Putting like just a massive ceiling light, you can really change like the entire room because you can make it change like put it in the shape that you want. Have a cool shape, and then you can just have it change color. Like, oh, I need functional lighting during the day, but other times change it to like that fiery glow.
That's cool.
Whatever you need to do. There's just another one.
Oh man.
On the side of the box of it used on the ceiling. I mean, that's a ridiculous number of light bars, and it would cost you like pints of your blood, but it's such a cool effect. I would love to like have it even in your bedroom and be able to wake up to like that lighting in the morning. Like if it was like animating like a sunset, so it would come in slowly and would like flicker a little bit or something. It'd be like a really gentle way to wake up.
Yes.
These things are awesome. I love this indirect lighting. This is really, really neat. I like this honestly a lot more than the panels, and the patterns are really cool. It's like line art. there's so much stuff you can do. So this right now, because I didn't have time to like commit. You know my problems with committing to things. I cannot decide what the heck I want to do
Right.
with anything. So I built this, and I actually just have, because these hold up really well. They hold on to the corner pieces super well.
Yeah.
This is actually just hooked to a command
What?
hook on the wall. So I just like hung it up here for the video so that we'd be able to see it during the shoot today. But they like hold on. It's like holding on to its own shape.
That just blew my
So
mind.
when I finally pick a spot, I'll like commit it. But yeah, so this is just sitting up there right now. So I'm in love with this thing. It's super cool. NFC pairing as well. There's a little HomeKit scan code, so there is a number, but you can just tap it with your phone. It'll pair with NFC, and alleviate any numbers or like camera scanning stuff.
Right.
So that's a nice little touch as well.
That is nuts. I love these things. You know, because a lot of times you see people use LED strip lighting either under stuff or, you know, for a room. But I never like seeing the actually individual little light bulbs. You know, you see like the little dots of LED when you do those kind of light strip type things. But something like this, you know, you put it under cabinets or whatever, like you're just going to get that nice light effect and you're not going to see those individual like LED dots. Like, so cool. One question, there's not an option to like angle them differently in the end pieces, right? Like what I'm thinking of is if you wanted to attach them to like a side wall, let's say you were filming and you have a wall behind you, but you wanted the light to kind of shoot upwards on the wall. Is there any option for that?
No, they're straight perpendicular to the wall.
Right.
A couple other little things just to note. There is a way to mirror your computer screen. So if you got a PC, this works with like everything. So it works with like HomeKit, Google Assistant, Amazon Alexa, Samsung Smart Things, IFT. They work with Razer Chroma. So if you're playing a game or watching a movie like on your computer screen, you can mirror it to the lights to create like a more immersive effect, which is pretty fun.
Wow.
It would be neat to like adjust that angle, but no, they just go straight against the wall. So you'd have to get it like right along the edge of where you're shooting,
Right.
or I just like how it looked. Like,
No,
would
it looks
put
cool.
these into frame.
Yeah, that's awesome. One crazy idea, I saw this on social media somewhere. You know, if you attach them to your ceiling, like you were showing in those pictures, I've seen people put like cotton or the like white kind of material covering the light strips on their ceiling. And if you like have it blue light and have it like travel down, it looks like lightning and clouds in your ceiling. And it's a really, really cool look. And they've always done it with like non-smart, you know, they're just using LED strips. But man, to do that like in your ceiling, if you want it to look like clouds when you look up, like that'd be pretty sweet. That's very cool.
Yeah, because you can design all these scenes. So I can go to like a dynamic scene and choose like the colors that I want, and it has like all the motion effects you can do.
Oh, that's cool.
Look at that, my non-banding iPhone
What
13
in the world?
Pro.
Weird.
All of like the different like, okay, wheel, random, highlight. So you could do like random and then make it quick. So it was like a shutter, like flashing like lightning.
Yeah.
It also has rhythm built in, so it can sync to your music.
Oh,
it does
my
actually have
goodness.
like a microphone, so it can sync it to like a beat of music that you're listening to.
That's amazing. What in the world? Okay, do you have any information on like
Yeah.
availability or pricing or anything?
Yeah, so let's see. So I'm still finishing off this review. It's going to go live by the time you all are seeing this. Pricing wise, these guys are going to hit at $200 for the Smarter Kit, which is the similar price point to pretty much all of other Nanoleaf's other products. Yeah. And then it is, this is the part I don't like, the 3-pack add-ons are more expensive than I think they should be. The 3-pack add-ons will be $80 for just 3 light bars. So like you see all these cool, massive displays, but at $80 for 3 bars, I think is expensive.
Yeah.
So I mean, $200 and you get 9. I mean, if you were just dividing that out, you're going to be paying like more like 60 some for a pack of 3 in the Smarter Kit than buying all the light bars. But with the Smarter Kit, you're also getting like the Thread radio and the Wi-Fi controller and all of that has to go into it. So you're getting all of those controls for that $200. I think it's like the Smarter Kit is a great deal, but if you even want to buy 3 expansion packs, buy another smarter kit and spend instead of spending $240, spend $200 a smart kit. Then you're gonna basically just throw away all your extra stuff that you don't need. So I think that's a little bit.
That's weird. Yeah, that's weird.
I don't know. They're up for pre-order now, and then you can get them from Nanoleaf's website as well as Best Buy. Links in show notes, folks. And then they will ship out by the end of November. So we're looking at just about a month before you can have your Nanoleaf Lines.
That is very cool. Very cool. Well, listeners, look in the show notes for the links to Andrew's write-up and also the actual product. Those are very cool. Nanoleaf makes some very cool stuff. So covered a ton today. Man, it felt like a good show. We still have a ton of listener questions and recommendations. We'll have to save those for another time. Had a bunch of people recommending pillows, which I think is amazing and hilarious. And I did try those different sleep apps, and I have some thoughts on those. But we will have to save it for the next show, and so we will do that. Keep the listener questions and recommendations. Tell us what you're doing. Keep that coming. Keep tweeting at Andrew and myself. Our Twitter handles in the show notes. We have a running list, so we will get to them for sure. We're not going to miss any, but we just have to. It was too big of a show. It's too much. It's too much stuff going on. It's awesome. It's exciting. Check out our sponsors, BetterHelp and Hunter Douglas. Links to those in the show notes. And subscribe to the YouTube channel, HomeKit Insider YouTube channel. There's a link to that in show notes, and you can see a lot.
Get to 1,000, and we can see Steven's glitter beard. 1,000 of
I'll do
That's
it.
all we need.
I'll-
It's not that many.
No, we have
You guys can do it.
way more listeners than that. I won't get to, I won't triangulate too much, but we have way more listeners than that. So we just need some of you.
Yeah, but we've only got like 500 of you on the YouTube channel. So all you got to do is double it. Just double it. And you can see Steven in a glitter beard.
I didn't realize we were that close.
It's worth it.
I didn't realize we were that close actually to 1,000. I mean, we're already halfway there.
See, now you're making him panic. Is that not just, don't
Sweating.
you want to see the panic?
Sweating.
See the fear in his eyes?
Man, it's gonna be glittery.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to lay a tarp down or something. Anyway, yes, subscribe to the YouTube, the HomeKit Insider YouTube channel, and if you haven't yet, we would appreciate a 5-star rating and review in the Apple Podcast app. That also helps out the show. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.